Hello everyone, my name is Rakhi Tyagi, a second year BMS student, and while reading Dravyaguna, I found it that we come across different leaf shapes and we do not know what actually the shape looks like or what does the terminology mean, and we end up cramming the words, which is not fruitful at the end. So I am gonna make a video which describes different leaf shapes that will be beneficial in Dravyaguna subject. And the very first leaf shape is needle-like. If the leaf looks like a needle, it is called acicular shape. The very second shape of the leaf, which is very common, we come across different medicinal plants, is cordate. What cordate looks like? It is a heart shaped leaf, like the base is somewhat this is a heart shaped leaf. This is known as cordate. This is heart shaped leaf. The third leaf shape I'm going to talk about is, it is kind of heart shaped, but the base is not inward like that of a cordate. It is simple, it is straight, means it is more or less of a triangle kind of. This kind of shape, it can be dentate, it can be serrated, depends, but this shape is known as deltoid shape of leaf. If it is triangular, it is called deltoid. Here it is the petiole. The fourth shape is elliptical. Now I would like to explain what is an ellipse. An elliptical leaf would be a leaf that will be having a maximum diameter from somewhere like midpoint. It has the maximum diameter, but it is shorter than the overall length of the leaf, and hence this shape is known as elliptical or elliptic leaf, we'll call it. The next shape we are going to talk about is leaves which look like a sickle. Leaves which look like sickle, and these are somewhat like these. So this shape of the leaf is particularly known as falsate leaf. What it is known as? Falsate leaves, sickle shaped. The next shape we are going to talk about is hastate. Hastate is triangular as that of deltoid. Hastate is triangular, but the triangle is very sharp and the basal lobes are spreading away from the base of the leaf. What I mean is the leaf is very sharp triangle. It is the petiole and the bases are spreading away from the petiole. Bases are spreading away from the petiole. Such a leaf is known as hastate. Such a leaf is known as hastate, that it is a sharp triangular leaf with bases away from the base of petiole. The very next shape we are going to talk about is lanceolate. I hope you have come across this term, lanceolate. Ab lanceolate and elliptical, you have to compare these two. Lanceolate is will look like similar to elliptical, but what it has a tapered end. Tapered end is like it is ending. Taper, बहुत पहले से ही you would have a thing कि अब end शुरू हो गया. It has a tapered end. It is a lens head shaped. It is tapering end, and this is the leaf looks like a lens head, hence it is called lanceolate leaf. The next leaf shape we are going to talk about is linear. Linear, you all know that it is a linear straight leaf, like leaves which appear to be very rectilinear kind of. These are known as linear leaves. The next shape I would like to provide the name first, that is lyrate. What lyrate is? Lyrate is the leaf is irregular, but the dentations are on the lower side of the midrib only. For example, the leaf top is like this and the dentations are in the lower side only, then this shape is known as lyrate leaf. Now from the previous page we know what chordate looks like, and chordate was, this is heart shaped and the petiole was at this point, but the I would like to obchordate. Obchordate is the leaf looks like an inverted chordate. This is like the venations are this. Heart which is pointed at the base. Heart point at base. This is known as obchordate shape of the leaves. The 11th shape of the leaf that we will come across is oblanceolate. Now we know what was lanceolate. It was tapering at the end, tapered at the end. Oblanceolate is inverted. The tapering edge will be towards the petiole of the leaf. This is known as oblanceolate. The next shape of the leaf, if a leaf has longer length, then the thickness is less, the breadth of the leaf is less, the length is more, and it is not purely 90 degree but somewhat 90 degree it appears. This is known as oblong leaf. Oblong leaf. The next shape is obovate. Obovate. We come across this term a lot. Obovate is, it has a narrow end basal. What do you mean by narrow end basal? The leaf is broad. The leaf is broad, but the base is narrow. But the base is narrow, and this is known as obovate shape of the leaf. The next shape is orbicular. As the word suggests, orbicular, it is disc shaped. It is more or less a round leaf. It can be dentate, it can have serrations. It is orbicular. As we see, disc shaped. Next is oval. And there are many terminologies which from which we get confused. What is oval, what is ovate? So we are going to deal with oval and ovate now. Oval is something, what actually is an oval? Basically, oval is something which has a shorter length but wider width. These leaves gives more or less appearance of the same, like they appear to be so wide so that length appears to be lesser. Like, you get my point. Okay, oval is this shape. Now let's talk about, I guess we're done with 14 shapes. The 15th shape is ovate. Ovate is egg-like. Egg-like means, let me draw. It is more or less of the shape we regularly draw in our drawings. But what it is, egg-like matlab, it is not maximum width from its midpoint. I may write it कि not maximally wide from midpoint. Rather, it will have a maximum width from away from the center. Like if it is the center of the leaf, the widest distance will be away from it, either this, most probably the lower side towards the base of the leaf. So this is the widest part. It looks like egg, hence the name ovate shaped. Now the next shape is reniform. Reniform, as the name suggests, it is kidney shaped leaf. What kidney shaped? The leaf looks like if I draw a kidney and then this is the petiole, like more or less. It can be dentated, it can be serrated. We'll talk about differences, or what is a dentate leaf, what is a serrated leaf. Just keep watching it till the end. The next shape is rancinate leaf. It is a very important shape for our Dravyaguna subject, rancinate. The leaf is incised. Let me describe it. Incised, and the lobes are pushed downwards and backwards. What I mean is, it is the leaf, it is incised, it is inside, और जो incision करने के बाद lobes of leaves बनते हैं, they are pushed backwards. Like this is the leaf, the lobes will be pushed backwards and downwards. नीचे की तरफ और पीछे की तरफ the lobes will be pressed. For example, these, ये incision हो गया, this lobe, let's say other incisions, this lobe and this lobe. These are going backwards and downwards, You get my point? These are pushed backwards and downwards, whereas the leaf, the other half of the leaf which is not incised is in the same plane only, and the lobes which are after the incision made, they are going backwards and downwards. This shape is known as rancinate leaf. The next shape of the leaf we are going to deal with is sagittate. Sagittate is a simple leaf. It is a arrowhead shaped leaf. Arrowhead, like how does arrowhead look? Simple. This kind of leaf is known as arrowhead sagittate leaf. The other shape, it is very easy, spatulate. The name is suggesting only, it will be looking like a spatula. This kind of leaf are known as spatulate leaves. Since these were the shapes of the leaves that you will come across mostly in your Dravyaguna subject, now I would like to talk about the margins of leaves also. Like for example, if I showed you that the leaf was oblanceolate, it can be serrated, it can be cleft, the margins can be entire, the margins can be dentate, the margins can be denticulate. So to know the difference between these all terms, let us start another topic, that is margin of leaf. Let us talk about the first kind of margin, that is ciliate. We all know what does the word ciliate means, that if a leaf has tiny hair-like projections on the margins all over the leaf, then it is known as a ciliated margin. Like this is all over the leaf. This is the petiole. The second kind of margin that we will come across is cleft. C-L-E-F-T. Cleft. Now let us write the description of cleft. Cleft leaves have deep incisions and extends more than halfway of the midrib. What does it mean? Deeply incised leaf, incisions reaching more than halfway. And I would like to add, the lobes are more or less round shaped, and these are known as round clefts only. Let us draw, then you will be more clear. This is the midrib, the lower part will be the petiole only. The leaf is incised and incisions reach more than halfway. For example, this is an irregular leaf, like कुछ leaves ऐसी होती है कि incisions are reaching more than halfway. This is a haphazard, but you'll get the idea कि deeply incised है. Incisions reaching more than halfway. Incisions are more than, like this was the margin of the leaf, and incisions are reaching more than halfway, and the lobes each created after incision are more or less of the round shape. This kind of margin is known as cleft. The third margin we are going to discuss is crenate shaped. We all know the crenate is something semicircular. So if we have a leaf and the margins are more or less round, we call it crenately marginated leaf. I guess we all have come across such leaves in our lives. This is crenate margin, means the teeth of the leaves are round. There is another term similar to crenate, that is crenulate. 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 What is crenulate? You have round toothed margin only, but the shape are very small and fine. Smaller round toothed margin is your crenulate shape. For example, let me draw it in a shape of the leaves. Let us draw in a spatulated leaf, है ना? So it can be spatulated crenulate, it can be deltoid crenulate. So there are number of combinations you can make of shape of the leaves as well as margin of the leaves. So we were discussing crenulate. Crenulate means the round tips are smaller this kind of leaf you come across, the margin will be crenulate. I hope that is more or less clear. The next margin we are going to talk about the two most come across terminologies, that is dentate and denticulate. Let us understand the differences between dentate and denticulate. Dentate, let me draw a disc shaped orbicular leaf. Dentate are the dentations, the incisions जो होंगे at the margins are sharply perpendicular to the main rib. Let me write margins के toothed margin with each tooth sharply perpendicular to midrib. What I mean is, let us say this is the midrib. These are the venetions going. This is like this. Now make a perpendicular dentation to like this is the thing कि whatever variation, whatever venation is coming to this, that is more or less 90 degrees to it. That is dentate margin. This is dentate margin. What is denticulate? Denticulate is same small finely dentated margin is denticulate, or the same we done with crenate and crenulate. Small finely round tooth margin was called crenulate, means it is the more finer form of this only, hence denticulate is finer form of dentate only. For example, the leaf is this and you have more finely, means the number of dentations per unit length of the margin are more. So this is known as denticulate shape. The next kind of margin, which is entire margin. Entire are very easy, like there is no particular toothed margin. The margin is very well defined, that is known as entire margin. Other margin of the leaf is incised. Incised means they are deeply irregular incisions, but they do not reach the midrib. Like they are deep incisions but do not reach midrib. For example, I draw a midrib. They are deep incisions. For example, अगर margin of the leaf without incisions ये होनी थी तो midrib तक पहुँच तो रहे हैं but exactly नहीं पहुँच रहे. For example, like more or less this kind of leaf. This is incised, means the incisions, they are deep, they are very deep. More than half of the leaf is incised, but they are not reaching the midrib. This is known as incised margin. The other kind of margin of the leaf is involute. Involute means the leaf is curled outwards, means the midrib is this, the margin of the leaves are this, but these margins are like out of this plane. If you see a leaf from its basal point, you will see that it is the petiole and the leaf margins are like upwards, incurled upwards. So this is involute margin. Like if you look at from its base, so this will look like this, involute. There is another shape which is just exact opposite of involute. That is revolute. Revolute is, if you look at there is leaf and the margins are downwards, rolling downwards to that of the plane of the midrib. For example, if you look at this leaf from the base of, like from the petiole side, this will look like this is the midrib, the petiole, and the leaf margins are curling downwards. This is known as revolute margin. Okay. The next kind of margin is lacerate. Lacerate is the most haphazard, most jagged margins. Like most jagged, this is the midrib, and anything like there appear small lesions, then this kind of leaves, like most, you don't exactly understand what the pattern of the serrations. This is known as lacerate, Lacerate, lacerate. The similar kind of word which confuses, lanceolate. Lanceolate are somewhat ordered to this. They are deeply irregular pointed lobes. Deeply irregular pointed lobes means जो serrations बन के जो lobes बन रहे हैं they are pointed, like you have seen a number of leaves like this ना. Like this kind, like more of this thing. There are pointed lobes. This is known as lanceolate. They're more of like fringed appearance. Fringed appearance. This is lanceolate. The next kind of margin of the leaves is lobed. Lobed is the lobes are more or less round shaped, round pointed sections are there. Okay, so like this is the midrib, the lobes are rounded, like there could be like, okay, they are not needle like as in the case of lanceolate, they are rounded. Okay, the venations will go like this. This is lobed margin. The other kind of margin is pinnatified. Pinnatified. The pinnatified में क्या होता है? The incisions reach up to midrib, but do not distinct as leaflets. Means there is this complete leaf, the incisions just reach the midrib. Just reach the midrib. The incisions just reach the midrib, but they do not touch the midrib. So they do not differentiate themselves as leaflets. So I would like to write about it. Okay, incisions reach nearly to midrib, but do not get distincted as leaflets. Leaflets नहीं बनते ही हैं, बिकॉज लीफलेट्स तो तब बनेंगे ना जब मिडरिब को कम्प्लीटली टच करेंगे, बट यहाँ पे कंप्लीट टच करने से थोड़ा सा रह जाता है. दिस इज नोन एज पिनेटिफाइड काइंड ऑफ margin. We have our 14th kind of margin of the leaf, that is serrated. I hope the terminology dentate and denticulate are clear, and serrated is one of the most common terminologies we come across. Serrations are like dentate में क्या होता था, the toothed margins has to be perpendicular to the midrib or to the venation reaching that point, but serrated में ऐसा नहीं होता. Serrated में, so since this is the shape of the leaf, the tooth need not to be perpendicular to the midrib. This is serrated margin. Okay, the similar kind of word that we come across is doubly serrated. Doubly serrated as serrations में ही एक डबल serration होना is doubly serrated margin. What I mean by this is, let's say this was the shape of the leaf, now we'll have serrations in it, but this serration was in, let's say this serration was complete. Let me draw a serration and I'll draw a serration within this serration. The serrations themselves have a serration. For example, I have drawn this. This kind of margin is known as doubly serrated. There is another term similarly, that is cellulate. Cellulate is refined serrate. For example, जैसे वो था dentate, denticulate, it was there ना. Hence serrate को और fine अगर आप कर दोगे तो that is cellulate. Cellulate is your leaf was like this. Now this is cerulate. If this is serrate, so this is cerulate, that is finer serrate is known as cerulate. And the last kind of a margin of the leaf, that is sinuate. Sinuate means there is wavy margin like how we can draw it, it is the margins are wavy. There is no particular sharp pattern, they are more or less of a waves. This is wavy margins. So these was the shapes of the leaves as well as the margins of the leaf. I hope you like the video. I'm sorry if I drew something very bad, but I hope I have cleared almost every shape that we come across as a BMS student in our second year. Thank you very much.